affiliates. WNPR, Research Right.
All right, good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? Hey, back in the studio with the Reliable Representation Talk Show. We're gonna be kicking off in just a moment here, so just hang tight with us, and we're gonna get it rolling. Waiting on none other than Brittany Bowman. She ran a little bit behind, and so she got the agenda. I ain't got nothing in my briefcase, too. Yeah, so she got all the agenda what we're gonna be talking about. So I can't talk until she gets here because I don't know what the deal is. But I hope all y'all are doing good. Hey there, Miss Darlene Wilson from Utica, Mississippi. How you doing this afternoon or evening rather? We definitely appreciate you. We're gonna have a very interesting, exciting show this evening. So thank y'all for tuning in. Just come on, get on in here, and we'll be kicking it off in just a little bit. Miss Darlene, how's everything been going out there in Utica? Now, Miss Darlene, are you on Reedtown Water or the City of Utica Water? When y'all hear that music, y'all know what time it is. I mean, it's time to get ready. It's time to get rolling, y'all. Y'all come on in here. We're going to be going in just a moment here. Just a moment.
9.1 WPR. 602 tuners on the backside to 6 o'clock, where every Thursday comes your way from 6 o'clock to 6:30. Reliable representation with your host, Representative Fabian Nelson, and also Ms. Brittany Bowman, the one that's on her way inside now.
All right, thank you, Handy. Good evening out there, District 66, Hines County and surrounding areas. Y'all, it feels good. Lord, here go the church mother coming in late. Mother, you late today. We took up collection.
Y'all did.
We took it up already, but it feels great to be back in the studio with y'all this week and not working from home. Thank y'all for your support, prayers, and everything that y'all, the messages and everything. I really, really appreciate you. I'm back. I'm about 75%, so not quite 100 yet. Would you say I'm 70? How would you say I'm progressing this?
About 65%.
65%, so I will take that. But we definitely have an exciting show for you this evening. I don't have the church announcements or the church notes. I'm glad Ms. Bowman got here because I didn't know what I was going to talk about.
I have them tonight.
But she has a whole list. Look, I got my blue book. This old stuff in here, though. We can talk about this already. But let's roll with it, Ms. Bowman. Welcome to the studio.
Hey, everyone. How are you all doing?
Stop with that baby voice. You've been raising sand all day. So here you go with the, you ain't in it. I don't want to hear that. Let's
Listen,
get to
where
this.
are we starting at tonight? Listen. I want to talk about elected officials showing up for people.
Ooh. Oh, somebody finna say, ouch.
So elected officials, you all young, old, middle age, when you are running for office, you all kind of worry people a little bit, a little aggressive about you're wanting to be in office, you're wanting to serve, but then for some reason or another, you all get there and then you just go absent on your constituents. And so when constituents are having community meetings, etc., they're reaching out to their newly elected officials or their re-elected officials and they're told, oh, I have this going on, I have that going on. Well, a part of service is coming up with a calendar and a schedule. You have to fit things in that works for you. And so you have to find some balance to it. You just can't ask for the people's vote, then go MIA, or then, have a nonchalant attitude about responding to their needs. What are your thoughts?
Well, you already know my thoughts on that. and I definitely understand, as elected officials, we still have a life. Some of us still have to work other jobs alongside being in office.
Mm-hmm.
But these are things that you have to evaluate prior to running for office. That was one thing I really considered when I decided to run for office. I said, can I fit this in my life and give my constituents the support they need? Because in the shape that we're in this county and in this state, we don't have time to go in and say, oh, I can't do it. So if I felt that I wasn't able to fully commit, I wouldn't have done it. But that's very disappointing when we see elected officials or not elected, but we see people campaigning and you can't get rid of them. They're going to be at every church, every community meeting, every HOA. Now, when I'm attending these events, it's like a ghost town. And people remember that. I'm really hoping that when election time comes again, that people will remember the ones that actually showed up, for the community, because it's more than just, holding a seat and holding a title. And so we got to do better. Ms. Mary Bradley from Columbus says, happy Juneteenth, celebrating the struggle of our ancestors on our behalf. Thank you so much, Ms. Bradley. Yeah, happy Juneteenth to everybody out there. Yeah, so definitely want to say that. And also, I want to send a shout out to Mr. Ernest Ward over at the Association of South Jackson Neighborhoods. What Mr. Ward has done is he has put a pilot program together over in the South Jackson area with Precinct 1 and with code enforcement. And he has a meeting once a month. I attended this one this week, and it was really good just engaging in dialogue about what needs to be done. People talk all the time about what needs to happen, but really having the people there that can actually make the change. I was able to talk about legislation with the city council. We were able to talk about ordinances and just bounce ideas off of each other. And so I look forward to this pilot program, but we have to do something. And that's what it's all about, and that's 1 hour of your week. So elected officials, that's 1 hour out of your week to come and do something that can, reshape your community. Commander Kendrick and I, we talked about license plate readers. When cars come stolen, the license plate reader flag it and it'll alert them. So we're having a lot of conversations behind the scene. And Mr. Hobson from Hobson Junk Removal, we doing good. How you doing over there, Mr. Hobson? Y'all don't mess with him with his accounts payable, no accounts receivable department. AR, the accounts receivable. Been sitting at Smith Rushan right there. Now y'all know that. Let me back. All right, Ms. Bone, keep on going. All right, so you missed me last week, didn't you?
I did not. I didn't expect that one came out the woodwork. Oh wow! Accounts receivable, accounts payable.
Oh, receivable. We receivable, not payable. We're payable, good. Receivable. You got to get the receivable so you can do the payable.
Yeah, I'm getting okay. Tell us about your State of the District address. That's next on my radar.
All right, so everybody out there in districts, well, I'm not gonna say only in District 66, but anybody listening anywhere in the state of Mississippi, any district, I have a State of the District address every year, and so that's when I bring the community together and talk about new legislation, because all new legislation goes into effect July 1. And so we're going to be doing the State of the District on the 24th, which is next Tuesday at 6:00 p.m. It's going to be this year. It's going to be in the city where Representative Holloway says the grass is greener, the sky is blue, and the water is cleaner. None other than Terry, Mississippi.
All right, Terry.
So we'll be at Terry, Mississippi in the community center starting at 6:00. So please come out and get this valuable information. And it's been very disappointing, but there have been struggles that I've been dealing with, working with the current administration on securing the community center.
Oh, really?
We talk about elected officials showing up. What I want people to realize is sometimes those of us that want to show up, we have roadblocks in the way. Now, with the Terry Community Center, I have town halls all over my district. Whenever elected officials are using community centers, it's a policy that they don't charge us if we're bringing something to the community. Now, if we were campaigning, having a birthday party, that's different. But in this instance, went through all the proper protocols to get the room reserved earlier this month. I actually went and spoke at the Board of Aldermen meeting and told them I'm going to be having a State of the District. I invited, y'all please come out. And they were excited and receptive about it. And yesterday I got a call from the city clerk saying that people have been calling, asking if I'm paying for the center and that I have to pay for the center. And I was kind of shocked. And guess what the reason was?
Wow, what was it?
She told me that I have to pay because I don't represent Terry, Mississippi. That's not my district. Now, Now, as much as I'm down in Terry, Mississippi, it's a split district. And so everything on the east side of 55 belongs to Representative Holloway, and everything on the west side belongs to me. And so I have mostly county. However, I do have probably 3 or 4 neighborhoods that are in the city limits. But nonetheless, it should not matter whenever you have a public servant, an elected official that's coming to your community to bring the community together and talk about the laws that are going to be affecting them and the changes that are going to be happening. You should welcome us with open arms. If it's something that's not informative, you're ready to accept it. Now, I don't know who to place the blame on because nobody can give me a name on who is the person that is behind this. But, we are going to find out because I am not going to let my constituents down. I promised them I'm coming down there, and I'm going to be down there if I had to go in Terry Park, which is public park. But I will be there on the 24th to let people know what is going on because I'm sticking to my word. When I campaigned, I told people that this is what I was going to do.
He said he's going to the park, y'all.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Wherever I can get my message out, because there are things people need to know about the new laws going to effect because they don't hear about them.
Heard about this gas increase July 1.
That's it. People need to know gas is going to be going up 3%. Grocery tax is going to be reduced by 2 cents. And so 2% rather. So we have to talk about these things, but we are not going to be silenced, and we're going to let the people know where they are. But nonetheless, let me tell you about how amazing the constituents are in Terry. When they started hearing about this, the constituents actually started calling yesterday, trying to go and pay the $350 to the city of Terry. That we want us to know you are not going to go up there and pay one dime to the city of Terry for that, because your tax dollars are what pays for this community center. That's what community centers are supposed to be centered around, keeping the community involved and engaged. So I just say that to say everybody out there, doesn't matter where you live, you're more than welcome to come out because these are laws that are going to affect every person in the state of Mississippi. So please come out. We're going to be live streaming as well on Facebook. And so we would love to have you and just kind of, fellowship with you. And it's about bringing the community together, getting everybody together in the community. That's what I like doing.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. Well, we're looking forward to it. He'll have his own command staff, you all, his constituent services team.
And here we go. Thank you, Miss Mary Smith. Miss Mary Smith says, I agree. This should be revisited on behalf of the townspeople. We wish you will push forward. Thank you so much, Miss Mary. Miss Mary, I'm gonna tell you, everybody saying that they just don't know what's going on because I'm not going to back down because I don't want this to hinder other elected officials. I want to come and do something positive in the community. Now, if you're having a campaign rally there, of course, you need to pay because you're campaigning. But if you're coming giving the citizens information that they need, I was going to talk about a broadband expansion. We have a lot of money coming to Terry. I want to talk about broadband. And so, yeah, thank you, Ms. Smith. And we're going to move on forward with you, Ms. Bowman.
All right. Sounds good. So I want to switch gears. We want to talk about the library that's next to Key. So Key Elementary School has a library that's next to it. It's the Richard Wright Library, and it is vacant, abandoned, no longer being in use. And so we're running into the problem where vagrants are entering and exiting. They're dumping trash next to the actual school. And so that has become an issue. And so with that being said, we're wanting to ask our people, what are we going to do next? And when I say what are we going to do next, how are we going to rid the problem of the dumping? Now, I've been told by Councilman Banks that some money was allocated for the library. And so my question is, if that money was allocated, then why is that money not being used for the library for whatever purposes that's going to be keep it boarded up, or we're going to demolish it, or exactly what use? Because now it's becoming an eyesore. We have another academic school year that's about to take place, and these children will have to see this again. So if anyone knows or have any insight on the library next to Key Elementary, please reach out. We definitely want to get it up to par and definitely want to hold those accountable. That's the Jackson Hines library system for that library.
Absolutely. And so with the allocation, did Councilman Banks tell you if it was it earmarked for that particular library, or was it just to the library system, or he didn't go into detail?
He didn't go into detail, but this is just me. It's not Councilman Banks. This is Brittany. I think he was just stating it was earmarked just for Jackson Hines Library System.
Okay.
So I have to dig into a little deeper, ask some follow-up questions to find out if it's for that specific library or where, but however, we need to make certain that we're actively, progressively making or advocating change for this library, because we need those in our communities, whether we know it or not. Everyone is not privy to books, technology, and those different skill sets that the children don't have. Most parents don't have those either, and so that's a prominent need for our community.
And just to go a step further, when people hear library, they think about books, and people, well, nobody uses books anymore. But it's so much more to a library now. They have computers. A lot of people don't have access to internet and computers at home. How do you get a job? You have to go online and apply. So those really are, libraries are good for those purposes. They have programs, reading programs for kids in the summertime, all different types of programs. And so we have to realize, in order to rebuild our communities, we got to start with things like that. You know, selling real estate, a lot of times when we have people move from out of state, one of the first questions is there a library in this city? Because they come from other places where there are libraries. They want to make sure that they're not giving up libraries. So it's things like this. And I feel bad for those kids that have to go to Key and have to come out and see naked people, because at times naked people run through the parking lot. And so I feel bad for those kids who have to go to school in that environment. So definitely we need to be working with whomever to get something done about that. So
totally agree. Let me ask this question. 1% sales tax. Can you tell me the purpose of it? Is it a separate entity? How is it used? That's a big question for me.
Which one? Where's this 1%?
The city of Jackson.
Okay, that is, you're talking about for the streets.
I'm assuming so.
So
I've just been hearing about it, so I want to know more about it.
Okay, so what it is 1% tax, 1% retail tax on everything. And what happens is that money is supposed to be used for water and street repairs. Okay. And so there's a commission. And I looked up the bill. I can't remember. I'll get it for you later. But there's a commission, and that commission, they meet and decide what roads are going to be fixed.
Okay.
Now, when the federal government gave the city of Jackson, the money for the water system, they wanted to actually take some of that money and put with it, because they found out there was about $10 million just sitting in that fund. And they're like, well, y'all are not using it for the purposes intended. So let's put that with the federal dollars. But that did not, that didn't happen. But it's really good. I would like to know, like, what are the criteria for streets to meet the requirement to be, repaved? I know a lot of streets in Jackson haven't been repaved because the water lines underneath the streets are bad. Okay. And if you pave it and you don't fix the water line, guess what? We're going to be back to where we started. Okay. Mr. Ron Brown says we're in need of a library in Byram. Hopefully we can advocate around this issue. And Mr. Brown, you're right. We had a library on Sowell Road, which was torn down for developers to come in. And we moved to some modular trailers behind City Hall. You've seen it, haven't you? Mm-hmm. So yeah, we have modular trailers behind City Hall, that's serving as our library. But we need an actual structure for our library. I think that would be very, very beneficial to our city. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for saying that.
Definitely. Want to hit another hot topic. Misappropriating, allocating the funds. I've heard that about Jackson Public School District. I was definitely saddened to hear that. But what I do want to say is, we have to make certain that we are having people in these roles who are physically responsible. I don't mean the PHY, but the FIS, physical, financially, should I say, for those who may not be familiar with that term, responsible for our funds. People are paying. I know myself, when you work and you see all the taxes that come out of your check, and it's supposed to be allocated for schools and other resources, and then you hear the news and learn of the funds being misappropriated or not being placed in the right respective area that it should. It's very disheartening, because Jackson Public Schools is a school district that does not look like Madison County. It does not look like Rankin County. You have most of your brown and black children attending. And so our buildings and our structures or offices are the least favorable, but we're in position to hold the money and use the money in a way that would beautify our buildings, add on academic resources for our students. And instead you have adults that are supposed to be accountable. They're misappropriating funds. We're contracting services out, such as the custodial services. You're having educational consulting groups come in to teach a teacher when you already have a teacher that may have been teaching 10 to 12 years and could possibly move up to the role as a lead teacher. But instead, you'll have a company coming in to teach this teacher how to be a lead teacher and then take those funds away from the schools, where the schools don't have those funds where they can actually benefit. We have to become more physically responsible. We're wasting money putting it in areas where it's not needed. One thing is we're too top heavy. We have too many $100,000 salaries, but the grading scale is not reflecting that of the $100,000 salary. Kudos to JP, as we have definitely grown and moved up letter grades, and that is amazing. That's awesome and amazing. But when you get through there, you still have other loopholes that you can fix, and we are not doing that. And so we have to become better at doing that. I advocate and beg each of you who have a child, if you don't have a child, I have a mentorship program. Attend the school board meetings. Ask those questions, because the taxes that are coming out of your payroll checks are for those specific things. And when you have people in leadership that are not being, again, financially or physically responsible, then that's a problem for me. And it's definitely a problem when we're still having school closures as well, but then our money is even coming up missing.
And I want to go a step further with that. That was one of my platform issues, was fully funding education. And my first session in the House, we fully funded education for the first time in about 15 years. And not only did we fully fund education, we invested about $168 million additional dollars for public education. And out of that, we gave JPS an additional $18 million to do, some things with. And so back to what you're saying, when we talk about misappropriation of funds, when we go and we say, hey, I need more money for Jackson Public Schools, that looks bad, because our chairman can say, why are we giving the taxpayer, and in their own right, why are we giving taxpayer dollars to a district that are not doing what they're supposed to do with it? So we have to make sure, and this isn't an attack on anybody, but we have to make sure that we have checks and balances in place. And I'm happy that, that they found that money. I'm not found it, but they found that it was, that it was being misappropriated or misused. So definitely, we gotta be good stewards of the taxpayer dollars. Ms. Mary Bradley said we must make them accountable when funds for education is concerned.
Totally agree.
Absolutely. When we have schools that are getting rained in, schools that don't have heat, that don't have air, we have to hold them accountable, because
schools that need to
be demolished. And so we need to really start holding them to the fire when it comes to things like education, because those kids are our future. When we retire, these are going to be the people that are going to take our place. And if we're not educating them properly, giving them the resources that they need, then, I feel really bad. And while we're on education, you sent me an article today. I hadn't had a chance to read it, about the elimination of the U.S. history test for the state of Mississippi. Now, you want to know how I feel about that?
I dislike it, honestly.
I do as well. I'm not for the state testing being mandatory. However, the U.S. history test is one that should not have been touched, because it teaches civics. It teaches American government. And it's mighty strange that we look up Algebra 1, biology, English, and we say, we're going to take U.S. history test. That one, we need that one very importantly, because we don't teach civics in school. I mean, my thing, if you're going to eliminate that one, just take all of them away.
That was my thought.
But
my thought. If anything, you could have took the algebra, because that's what was going to be least likely used once you progress after high school.
Yes, but U.S. history, civics, that was one of my favorite. When I had U.S. history, was my favorite subject in school, because I liked learning about Constitution, how government worked, that in U.S. government. And so we really, some people probably are cheering it on, but out of all tests, I think that's the most important one.
Correct.
That we had.
And the English too should stay.
And English, absolutely. So, yeah, I meant to look. We've been talking so much, been going. I hadn't had a chance to talk about that, but I heard Department of Education was talking about getting rid of that one, the Mississippi Department of Education.
Wasn't a good call for me. My personal opinion.
No, it wasn't for me either. If we're taking that test, it will carry a good trade-off would be, if that test is going away, we need to make civics mandatory back in the schools again.
Totally agree.
But you know what the saying is, when you keep people in the dark, then they can't do anything about it. And so that's a way of keeping our children in the dark.
Mhm.
And what we have going on in this country right now, every single person, if you don't understand civics, you need to be learning it. When we look at what's going on, every time we turn the TV on, this is getting cut, that is getting cut. I mean, it's just so we really need to make sure that we are getting our children civically engaged and civically involved, because I guarantee you the private schools are teaching it.
They are. They are. I do want to give a special shout out. I do want to shout out Supervisor Deborah Butler Dixon. In the board meeting this Monday, June 16th, she stated that we need to hold our elected officials accountable. And Supervisor Dixon, I couldn't agree with you more wholeheartedly. She even mentioned about Sour Road needing to be repaved. And that was another great observation. So again, you all, I believe in giving credit to where credit is due. Wherever there is an issue, I don't mind stating that issue, but when people say things that are agreeable and that are factual, we need to applaud those people. So that was a great point. So I do want to commend her for that, because we also need to visit Raymond Road. Raymond Road has a lot of unevenness that's going on as well, but I know that's probably on their list, the supervisor's list to get to. But you all make certain that when you are observing issues in your city, your county, whatever, that you are stating it and making logs of it to your right elected officials, whether that's city or county or state. Make sure you make that notation to them. And so a lot of people, you complain about, well, we don't have adequate services. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. Well, if you don't have a log of what has taken place, really it's like it never happened. It's just your word against their word. So make certain any complaints, issues that you have, you're definitely voicing it with the people that you elected.
And I want to double down on that. Also, just want to commend Supervisor Dixon on paving roads. There are so many roads that she has been getting paved, and I think that's vital. That's key. It's about this. A lot of times, it's about the small things in the community.
It is.
I remember years ago, my street needed to be paved really, really bad. And when they paved it, it was just like a new sense of pride coming down my street because my street was paved. So Supervisor Dixon, thank you for taking care of our constituents. Some of the neighborhoods that are being paved are in District 66. So thank you for looking out for us. We really, really, really appreciate you. Please continue doing what you're doing. I want to say hello to Evangelist Lisa Lawson, just tuning in from all the way from the big old city of Raymond, Mississippi.
That's it.
And y'all have a new mayor in Raymond, Mississippi. I'm not sure of his name. But y'all have a new mayor out there.
I'm not even certain either. So I think it's Randall or something. I'm not certain of Randall's last name. Mr. Randall, I'm not certain of his last name.
That sure is the same. He was a former alderman.
Okay.
So definitely congratulations to him on winning this race, and all of our other elected officials. I mean, it is when we're back on the air next week, it'll be our last show with the current administrations in place.
Yeah, July 1, a new fiscal year, new administration. So we're looking forward to great things, you all. I just want to encourage people to stay on the wall. And when I say stay on the wall, stay committed to the work. Stay true to who you are, you all. There's so much background noise out here. People are trying to get us distracted. Of course, that's nothing but the object of the enemy. Make certain that you know. I always tell Fabian, I know who I am. I know whose I am. And his slogan is, he's anointed and appointed.
That's right.
Mine is, I know who I am. I know whose I am. So I don't get into the weeds about what people are saying behind my back. My pastor often says they're behind your back for a reason. That's a tail light. If you're driving your car, you can't see what's behind you, but you know, because it's a tail, it's behind you for a reason. So I just want everybody to be a headlight, not a tail light. Make certain that you are sowing good seeds into people. When I say good seeds, kind words. My grandmother always say, your word is your bond, it's like your credit. You can have $1 million, but if you can't show it to me, it's just like you never did have it. So make certain that your character supersedes any words that people are saying. You are actually poured into people. When I say poured into people, a lot of times we look at people on Facebook and everywhere, and you think, oh, their life is going good for them. You don't even know some people on the brink of a breakdown. One kind word, one nice thing, and nice thing could be simply, hey, here go you some lunch money. Go buy you something to eat. Brighten those people's day. So make sure we are sowing good seeds.
And that's a very good statement, a good point that you made. But the thing is, when I hear the good and the bad, I just say, hey, I'm glad I'm on somebody's mind. I'm glad somebody thought about me today. Free publicity. Because when you're doing what you're supposed to do, nobody can go out there and tell your story. You tell your story better than anybody else can. So don't worry. If people not talking about you, that means you're not doing something right.
Amen.
So, and I'm gonna sign up on that point. I'm gonna let you take us on the way for here.
Well, you all again, we thank you all so much for listening to the Reliable Representation Talk Show. We'll come back next week and finish up some more things I have on my church list, y'all. I came in here with a whole book tonight.
Oh, everybody saying we need an hour. They missed that extra 30 minutes.
We might get back to it, y'all. We might get back to it. But again, thank y'all for listening.
We're gonna pray about it. Y'all
Yes.
take care. Hands, you take us away. All right, y'all. See y'all later. I see y'all later. Tell everybody goodbye. Oh, you can tell them on your phone. Get on my camera. In here hogging the camera. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Y'all take care. Feel good to be back.